Hey guys, Nick here, and welcome to my review of the new Marvel film Captain America Civil War, the highly anticipated sequel to Captain America Winter Soldier, and I believe it's like the 11th or 12th installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't know, I've lost count at this point. So, I just got back from seeing the movie. I'm seeing it Thursday night. This is about 10 p.m. And I'm here to obviously do my review, so here are my thoughts on the movie. To get things started, I loved Captain America Winter Soldier. Now I'm at a point where it's my favorite Marvel movie because of the way they handled Cap's characterization, the way they handled Black Widow's characterization, and how she wasn't just a love interest for someone. And when I heard that they're doing Captain America Civil War with the Russo brothers coming back to direct, I was really excited because they handled that movie so well. And so I finally saw the movie, and I thought it was good. Didn't love it. So that's like my general consensus. But let me get into more specifics of why I feel the way I feel. This movie, there are aspects about it that I feel like are better. Like the Captain America part of it, I loved. And Bucky, or not Bucky, but seeing Steve in this movie struggle so much with trying to help Bucky and trying to protect him, and their relationship has been one of my favorite things about this Marvel Cinematic Universe. And in this movie, it's just showcased once again, showing how far Steve's willing to go to protect his lifelong friend, and show the world that he's really, while Hydra was responsible for him being the Winter Soldier, he's really not that person, and he's trying so hard to prove to even some of his fellow Avengers, especially Tony, and seeing that struggle throughout the movie and seeing their camaraderie and seeing Bucky come out more than finally seeing him be Bucky again, but at the same time he's still part Winter Soldier, part Bucky. He has something different. He's not quite the Bucky that we knew in Captain America: The First Avenger, but he's still deep down. He's still that same guy. He's just gone through a lot, so he's not quite as happy-go-lucky as he might have been when he was fighting with Steve in World War II. But even then, just their friendship and and the way they treat each other was one of my favorite things about this movie. That, and while I feel like my biggest problem with the movie was it just, like, outside of the Captain America centered stuff and the Bucky centered stuff, it felt like another Avengers movie, not necessarily Captain America movie for me. And I understand it's Captain America Civil War, so we're having, it is dealing with the Avengers, so it's not like Captain America Winter Soldier where it's like the Avengers are all split up. Like this is like, I like the peak of the Avengers being the Avengers. So, when you have like pretty much every Avenger except Thor and Hulk, obviously it's going to feel a little cluttered. And I feel like at times it did feel really cluttered. And it took away from the focus for me. But with that aside, one of my favorite things about this movie that I haven't even mentioned yet was that airport fight scene. I thought it was so great, and the way they handled all the characters from Ant-Man to Spider-Man. That's not a spoiler. You guys all know he's in the movie. He's in the trailers and stuff. And Spider-Man in this movie, I like the way that he was portrayed by Tom Holland, and I'm excited for what they're doing with this character moving forward. That being said, another problem I had with the movie was, okay, Tony apparently has been aware of Spider-Man, right? And I'm not going to get too deep into spoilers. I'm going to try to keep this spoiler free as much as I can. But he knows the other side of the Avengers. He knows they're going to come to blows, right? This is coming from Tony. And his bright idea is to bring in a 15-year-old in a fight with 9 other adults, or like 10 or 11 other adults. I understand it's Spider-Man, he has all these abilities and stuff, but to me, it's like, dude, you're literally putting a minor at risk. Yeah, he has these powers, but he even said, in the movie, Spider-Man says he's really only been Spider-Man for 6 months. And it's like, dude, even then, he still hasn't had his powers for that long. And you're putting in this kid in danger. He was able to hold his own, but still, it's just like, I feel like Tony, it didn't really make sense for them to bring in Spider-Man. I loved Spider-Man in the movie, don't get me wrong. It just doesn't make sense for an adult like him, even though Spider-Man is Spider-Man, it still doesn't make sense to bring in like a minor into a fight with a bunch of adults who are potentially trying to kill each other. And I liked Spider-Man. I liked the portrayal of him. I liked the way they teased him and for his future movie and stuff. But it's just that how that was handled. It didn't make sense to me as an audience member. So that's something that kind of took me out of it. But and also, I think one of the biggest problems in this movie was the villain. Marvel has had a history of not having great villains. Other than like Loki, I liked Red Skull from the first Captain America movie. I thought Obadiah Stane in the first Iron Man was okay. Ultron I thought was okay. He was just really just a one-off. And that's nice because Ultron is such a great character in the comics that the way they handle him in the movie was just and in this movie it's Baron Zemo or Helmut Zemo, whatever they want to call him. And it felt like he was really only Baron Zemo or Helmut Zemo or whatever in name only, and that he really just wasn't. He had a characterization in the movie, or like they tried to explain his backstory, and it's like we've all heard it before, and it's nothing new, and it's nothing too layered. And the guy actor who plays him, Daniel Bruhl, and the only thing I've ever seen that actor in was Inglourious Basterds, the Quentin Tarantino movie. And I feel like as an actor, he was really underutilized. Like there's certain characters in this movie and certain actors in this movie I felt were really underutilized because this movie was so jam packed with so much, and it's just there were times that it just felt like too much, and it's like you have all these great things going on at once. It's too much, I think, for one movie. But I know I'm sounding like a negative Nancy, but I'm trying to be as balanced as I can, to be as subjective as I can, to not like pander one way, like, oh, I love this movie, oh, I hate this movie. I'm really in the middle. But yeah, to talk about the things I also enjoyed, the action in this movie again was great. It's that fight scene, obviously the fight choreography between Cap and everyone, and Bucky and Black Panther, by the way, who I haven't mentioned. Chadwick Boseman did such an amazing job in this movie, and the way they set him up as well, and you find out more of Wakanda's history in this movie. I thought that was handled extremely well, and you understand like where he's coming from as a character and why he's taking Iron Man's side. I thought that was handled really well. I'm really excited to see Black Panther's movie now because of Chadwick Boseman's portrayal and the way he was written in this movie, and ultimately where he ends up at the end of this movie made me even more excited for what's going to happen to him next. So there was that. What else? And even though she didn't play a huge role in the movie, Scarlet Witch, I feel like the way they handled her in this movie was way better than the way they handled her in Avengers Age of Ultron. With Scarlet Witch, because in the comics, she is the daughter of Magneto. And they can't mention that in the Avengers universe because Fox and Marvel are separate, and Magneto's with, X-Men, and Scarlet Witch can be used, but they can't mention Magneto being her father. So, when in Avengers Age of Ultron, when you find out that, Scarlet Witch teams up, or she, like, allies herself with Hydra, and in the comics, she's a character of Jewish descent, that's where I'm like, okay, like, you're whitewashing a bit. Like, that's where, like, me as a fan, I got taken out of it. The more I watched Avengers Age of Ultron, the more I get frustrated with that movie. But the way she was handled in this movie, she was very layered, she was very, she wasn't, she has grown as a character, and that's why I think I liked her as a character the most, because she did have a lot of character development from where we last saw her at the end of Age of Ultron. So I think her as a character, I liked how she was used in this movie. I like her characterization throughout this movie, and I like that a lot. Also, the camaraderie between Sam and Cap was always throughout the entire movie was great, and even the banter between Sam and Bucky. I'm not going to spoil anything. I mean, there's not much to spoil, but just their dynamic and the way they handle each other as on screen. Sorry, I'm a little sick, so you might hear me coughing a bit. I love the way that was handled. Just like again, like all the Captain America stuff with Bucky and Sam and all that kind of stuff, and even Agent 13, who was Sharon Carter, and the way she was used in this movie, I really wish she was used more. And once again, this comes back to the issue of, but other than Black Widow, Marvel doesn't always. I wish they would do more with the female characters other than Black Widow, because Black Widow, I love her as a character and everything, and I loved her in this movie because throughout this whole movie she was very torn, and she wasn't just a love interest like she was in Avengers: Age of Ultron. And she's one of she's one of Steve's best friends, and you see that in this movie, and you see their relationship grow, and where it has grown from the last few movies. And she was very torn, and in that aspect, I do like seeing her as a badass and seeing her flesh out more as a character who's not just a love interest. And that's what I feel like what they did with Sharon Carter's character in this movie, and that she wasn't a whole lot more than just a love interest. I thought she was going to be more. I mean, she was a little more than a love interest. She was working with the CIA and all this stuff and helping Cap. I just wish she was there to do more. I understand there's a lot going on in this movie. I want more strong female characters in this movie, other than Black Widow, because Black Widow is really the only one outside of Sharon Carter or Peggy Carter, and you ultimately find out what Peggy Carter's fate is in this movie. And the two end credit scenes I actually thought were actually really well done. They weren't like huge teases for like Infinity War or anything like that, but they're nice teases for what's going to come with these characters and there are fun teases, but they're also serious teases. So there's one mid credits and after credits. So if you guys haven't seen the movie, stick around for those because I thought they were pretty well done. Not the best, but I like them a lot. So with that being said, I think that's gonna be it. And my thoughts on Captain America: Civil War. Like I said, I liked the movie. I didn't love it. To me, it had its problems, but at the end of the day, I liked the movie. I liked something I forgot to even mention. I liked Tony's characterization throughout most of the movie, but there were times that's where like the movie kind of fell back a bit because it was starting to feel a little too much like an Iron Man movie rather than a Captain America movie. But Tony Stark in this movie, he has felt the most human than he has in any other movie. And Robert Downey Jr. in this movie, I think this is one of his best portrayals of the character. So with that being said, that's gonna be it. So if you guys like what you see here, go ahead and hit subscribe below. I do review a bunch of other movies and trailers and stuff on my channel if you guys want to check this out or check my channel out. What did you guys think of the movie? What are you guys looking forward to in the movie? Give this video a thumbs up. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. So yeah, that's gonna be it. So until next time, guys, have a good one.